everyone, Jo and I are here today to talk to you about coaching, the topic of confidence. It's something that comes up in coaching almost all the time in lots of different contexts. We wanted to share with you just some different ideas and approaches on how you can work with people on this topic. So do you want to kick us off, Jo?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing that comes to my mind when it comes to coaching people around confidence is the need to break it down. So coaches will often come and say, I don't have confidence. And it's a generalization, and that can be overwhelming. It can really shrink, them down to very small size. So just starting to do some work with them around identifying, in what areas or in what activities do you have low confidence? Would you like to have more confidence? And that may be around influencing others or presenting skills or maybe meeting a new partner. And so all of a sudden what that does is it breeds confidence just in itself, because all of a sudden, oh, actually, I do have confidence in these areas.
Yeah.
Also, it's around, like, what are the emotions attached to confidence? Is confidence about fear? Is it about joy? Is it, what is it to do with?
And something you mentioned there struck a chord with me. And I think there's this thing around with confidence. What is it? Like, what is it that you don't have? This thing that you're kind of putting this label on? Because often people will be looking at other people and how they might like waltz into a meeting and sit down and be able to command a room. And that to them might look like confidence. They might be striving to achieve what the other person has, which just may not be achievable for them because they actually bring a different approach and energy. So for me, confidence is about, what do you think it is that you don't have? So being able to really name it and coming at it from a place of authenticity and strength. So let's not worry what you see in other people. Let's have a look at what you see in yourself in terms of what do you want to have for you and how do you want to approach it for you. And that often is just work around, what qualities do you bring? How can you use more of those? So do some of that work as well.
Yeah, so if they've got done their strengths finder profile, you might look at like the top strengths that the individual has and how can they combine some of those strengths to create maybe something that isn't naturally in itself a natural talent.
Yeah.
I think with confidence as well, it's to do with the inner dialogue. So what is the conflict that's going on in your mind? So for me, when I did some of my coaching training, I already knew that I had this inner conflict around, I'm confident. No, you're not. I know I am confident. I do feel confidence. No, you're not. And I'm really working out what were the beliefs that were underpinning that, and doing some change work around that. So do that a lot with coaches to really get underneath it. Or we might use some transactional analysis techniques like the OK Corral around, when you think about yourself in this situation, what is the script that's playing out in your head? Is it you're okay, I'm not okay? And what can we do? What strategies can you put in place to get yourself into that I'm okay, you're okay position, to be able to be, as you say, identify and really you ground yourself in your best self, not somebody else's best self.
Yeah, I also look at relationships with clients because there's often in their life some relationships where they do have confidence and those where they don't. And so we'll look at those kind of relationships where they're exhibiting those confident behaviors. And that in itself can be confidence building because you're able to see actually it's not that you don't have them, it's just that they're not being applied in the context that you're using, that you're in. And then you can look to see, so how can you bring more of those resources into that behavior? And you've talked about transaction analysis there. And I think one of the things that we talk about is parent, adult, and child. And there are some relationships, particularly in the workplace, where you can just feel like the child in the relationship rather than feeling like an adult. And so part of the work is about developing awareness of, like, so who are you when you're not feeling confident? And perhaps you're just being your child self What would it take for you to step up and be your adult self? And what resources do you have that will enable you to get there? So that can be really helpful. And I think values comes into it as well. And we've done other values elicitation videos, so go and check those out if you want to use those. But knowing your values and the things that are important for you, you get to recognize where might your values be being triggered. And if your values are being triggered as in not met and you have unmet needs, then it's possible that you feel less confident in those situations where your values aren't being met. So there's a lot of exploratory work, but then there's also practical things that you can do around strengths and qualities as well.
Yeah, and talking about the parent-adult child, sometimes that particular relationship where you may not have confidence yet. So I think growth mindset is really helpful in terms of developing and building people's confidence, but it may remind you of a previous relationship. And so how do you step out of pattern or, that dynamics and into, the reality of who you are and where you are right now. So I think coaching is a nut that needs to be cracked in the sense of it's not, people are confident to brush their teeth. I start with that. Are you confident to brush your teeth? Yes. Are you confident to drive your car? Yes. Okay, so you know what it feels like to feel confident? Yes. And it's great to be able to build off that and have some humor around it.
Yeah.
Role play can help in coaching around building confidence. So if you've got a big presentation that you need to do that you're feeling a bit anxious about, and having the opportunity to practice with your coach, both practicing in terms of the actual role play, getting feedback, fine-tuning it, but also just preparing yourself with the mindset that's going to help you to step up and and be in that place. So believing I am powerful, I am equal, I am capable, I am valuable, I'm lovable, really stepping into those, that's a mindset that will serve you well.
I think there's probably two things with confidence. There's systemic confidence and there's situational confidence, and I think we can often mistake the two things as the same. So situational confidence, so a typical one for me years ago, oh God, I used to hate networking. It really used to make me feel so small and so de-skilled. It really affected my confidence. But I would sometimes take that on as a systemic thing, in that, so that means that I am not a confident person, and the two were just not true. So that's also useful work to do with your clients. And I think it is partly breaking it down, but helping them to identify, well, which parts of your confidence are systemic and around belief change and identity shifts, and which actually are just that you're out of your comfort zone and it's uncomfortable and it's anxious, and that's also normal, and it's okay to not feel confident. Like, you don't have to be confident at everything. It doesn't mean anything. It just means you're not confident yet and you need to learn some new skills, and you will be confident later. That can be quite liberating.
Yeah, and when people are feeling low in confidence in a particular area, that sense of vulnerability can be very overwhelming in the terms of fear. Whereas actually, if they start to relate vulnerability to a resourceful place and actually having strength from that position, and how does that help you to build and develop relationships? It's very different to vulnerability from desperation.
Yeah.
And so even trying to make a shift or reframing is a very powerful tool, as a coach, to be able to work with clients on.
Yeah, and I'd say one last thing as the coach, how do you build confidence? It's also about providing your coachee with recognition. It's about providing them
being, not just doing.
Yeah, recognition of who they are and what they do, and also just like being a support to them, And I think that kind of combination of taking action, recognizing them for it, celebrating their results, that in itself is confidence building. So some good stuff that you can do with clients, and hopefully that's given you a few ideas of how you might work with people who are experiencing a lack of confidence.
Yeah, really all of our videos are about helping clients to build confidence. And when I've been asked to design, confidence training, I always say, no, I can't do that in a day. It's not a quick fix, this work. This is work that will take, longer to do. So you need to just be in it with your client and support them the whole way.
Yeah. Great. And if you're interested in building your skills and learning to be a coach, then do come and check out our coaching programs at www.igcompany.co.uk. Thanks very much.